Bienvenue à toutes et à tous. We're absolutely thrilled to have this screening of Disneyland Handcrafted and to be able to welcome our cast members, our biggest fans from Inside Ears, as well as our Imagineers. It's a real pleasure to have all of you here today. Thank you. So this, just going to say a couple things about the film. This documentary is much more than just a technical look at our Disney parks. It is really a celebration of Walt Disney's dream, and it shows how the magic that we create is not just an abstract concept. It is something that is imagined, that is built, and that's carved into reality, and then it's brought to life by our incredible and passionate cast members. We have the incredible pleasure, and I know you saw her coming in, of being able to watch this film with Leslie Iwerks. What a treat for us. As part of a foundational Disney family, she's really in a unique position to be able to bridge Walt Disney's legacy with current day Imagineering. And we'll have a chance to talk about that after the film. We have a special Q&A for us, and we'll learn more at that point. So enjoy the film, and I'll see you after the film. That's better, much better.
Well, what do you all think?
Amazing, really. I almost cried. There, especially the end, seeing the guests come into the park. As busy a day it was, just to see his dream come true and to see that people immediately reacted to it and wanted to be there and see what he had done. I found that the most moving, really. I love these films and stories where we have an opportunity, and here I'm talking as a Disney cast member, to reconnect with Walt and his inspiration. I mean, for me, that's very moving. So thank you for this beautiful film.
Thank you.
So I'm going to kick off. I'm just going to ask 3 questions because I do want to give you an opportunity to ask some questions as well. Let's see. We had, I can't see right now. Here we go. Thank you. Documentaries about Disneyland are not exactly rare, and yet this one feels different. It has a sense of urgency to it, almost like a rescue mission. Was there a moment that made you realize this wasn't just history, but a story that needed to be shared?
Yeah, so when we were going through the footage, it all kind of came out of Imagineering story. When we were going through all this over 200 hours of archival footage, and in it we found probably about 70 hours of original Disneyland pre-opening day footage, and so much of it, you know, people hadn't really seen. I mean, some of it's been on the internet, some of it's been peppered here and there, but it's always just been, you know, kind of hodgepodge, and it's never been told in a way that was really had the drama, I think. And the other thing that struck me was that so much of this footage was shot by by basically like 6 or 7 cameramen that Walt had hired to document the making of Disneyland. And these were true life photographers. Stuart Jewell was one of the main ones that was filming this. And they filmed this like a documentary. And this footage was gorgeous. And we, this was 16 millimeter Kodachrome footage. All we did was, enhance it, color it. It was not black and white, and we colored it. It was all silent, by the way, it was all silent. This was every single sound that you heard in there, outside of the TV footage, was all created by Skywalker Sound. So it was literally handcrafted in the sound mix. But what I was realizing when we were looking at this, Mo, our editor, and Mark Catalina, my co-producer, they came to me and said, this footage would be amazing if we could put it together in the order in which it was constructed, because there were slates, ahead of every reel, and they were all different times. And so and there were shots in the middle of the reel that were from a different era, a different, month or whatever, or a different, part of the year. So different locations, different timestamps, and we had to basically edit it all, cut it all up, put it in bins, figure out which dirt mound was where, in which direction it was facing. And I think just through that process of organizing it and seeing if there was a story there, that was really the beginning of us saying, why don't we put it together in a way that feels true to the time frame that it was, which is a year. And so then we used the real film rollouts, and we used the, all the techniques that were actually inherent in the film strips to make you feel like you were watching the true documentary filmmaker's work. So that was what we did, and then we did a proof of concept. It was like a 7-minute. We added sound effects, did some time delays, and then we pitched it to Disney Plus, and they loved it. And so they said, we'll fund you to develop a, maybe a 20-minute reel or something. So we cut together a 70-minute cut. I tend to try to under-promise and over-deliver. It's my little secret. But they loved it, and they said, we want to do it. But then things happened in the company, and then it kind of went on hold for a number of years, and sitting there for probably 3 years on the shelf. So I've had a meeting with Jason Recker, and I know the 70th anniversary was coming up, and I said, I have this project, it's just sitting on hard drive, you want to take a look at it? And he saw it and said, oh my God, this is amazing. So that was the beginning of him showing it to Asad Ayez and Alana Hall-Smith and the team there, and they ran with it and have been extremely generous with promoting it and getting it finished and seeing it, having it seen around the world and here today. So I want to thank you and thank all of them for making it happen.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. There's no talking heads, no present day interviews, just the archive doing the heavy lifting. For a filmmaker, that's both a gift and a constraint. What was the biggest creative challenge of telling a story using only archival materials, and how did you solve it?
Well, I think that the point of this was to live in that. We embraced it out of the gate. It was not, we did not want to go to talking heads. We just wanted to treat the archival footage the way it was meant to be treated. I kind of feel like this footage has been sitting here for 70 years in the system at Disney, and no one's in 70 years said, let's go maybe make it like the documentary it was meant to be. I mean, that's kind of what these filmmakers were doing. They were creating scenes. They would shoot something and they would get a variety of angles on it. And I've never seen all those angles put together in a scene like that. So for me as a documentary filmmaker, it felt like such a privilege to be able to find that and then cut it together in a way that felt like it was meant to be a real doc. And then we chose not to use our, cutting away to photographs. We just really wanted to lean into that, and then we scoured, hundreds of hours of audio footage from a variety of libraries to find the right sound bites that could go with the right story point and to build a 3-act structure to it. And then audio bites from people that you hadn't really heard from before, or heard from in a long time, that really spoke to the gravitas of what was really happening. Because that was the important part, was just, you think about Disneyland today, and I think a lot of people take for granted that it's always been there, you know, and it wasn't. It was something that just rose from the ground, from the dirt, and it was in one man's dream. And that's the story we really wanted to bring out.
And they followed all those,
right.
Yeah, that was amazing to hear their voices and how they believed in him.
Right.
When a lot of people didn't.
A lot of people thought he was crazy, as Diane said, you know, and I think there was truly a lot of doubt in this project, far and wide, but Walt just kept driving. I mean, even his own brother, until his brother had to finally give in. So it's pretty impressive when you see just how much effort and belief people had behind his vision.
And the other thing that's amazing is having these photographers there during that time, like he was always thinking about storytelling, always, right?
Yeah.
Even though nothing ever happened with it at the time, he had this vision that we need to film this, we need to do this.
I think they over-filmed for what they needed it for. I mean, a lot of this footage was used in the television show that he was using to promote the park, right? So ABC hired him to do a TV show leading up to that. But when you look at the TV show, there were 4 episodes and very little was in it. So we were using all the outtakes. So, and I mean, it's what also is fascinating to me is that this is the DNA of everything, right? And you look at the craftsmanship and just the dedication, the teamwork, the hard work that went into this, and it always just is so moving to me to go to all these parks around the world, and especially, I'll have to say, this park in particular, so beautiful and so detailed, and having documented it in Imagineering Story, I always thought Walt would be so proud. And
Thank you.
You all should be so proud of the work that you do every day, just to keep up that craftsmanship and to keep up that hospitality and that, you know, just that vision that Walt had. I mean, to think that all these years later, this is continuing what he had in his mind, and it's a hard thing to live up to, but you're all doing it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're very proud of there are so many people here who are artisans in their trade and what they do, and it's something we're incredibly proud of. And to have that legacy is amazing.
I think also one thing I've learned from looking and reading a lot of those transcripts too, and then seeing the work that people do day in and day out at these parks, it's not just about what you see in the foreground and what you see when you're walking down Main Street, but it's the little things that you do for people, the things that you all do when people aren't looking, and that only you know you did for somebody else. And it's that caring and it's that hospitality that means so much, and I think that's what Walt always wanted of people and expected them to do, just be a good person and to pick up that piece of trash and to take care of that one person who's needing or looking around or what have you. So, I mean, to me, so much of Disneyland is not just about the artistry and the craftsmanship and the entertainment, but it's about that. It's the human touch.
And caring for our guests and those who come to visit us.
Yeah. Disney leads in hospitality.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to questions from the audience. Don't be shy. There we go.
Paris handcrafted sound to you.
I'm in. Y'all on the footage? It'd be fun to do it for every park.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a magic in Walt's original that will not compare to anything else because it was that DNA, but I'm already pitching around do the Walt Disney World version because that has a second big drama, the second big park. But I did a lot on this Paris Park and Imagineering Story. That was a lot of fun. And that's another true testament to the second generation of Imagineers who learned under the original Imagineers who built Disneyland. and were there, and they got all that foundation and training as the second generation. Tony Baxter, Tom Morris, Eddie Sato, so many people that were instrumental in this park, and to take it to a whole nother level. That's what I think this park is.
Hi, congratulations for this documentary. Do you already have material for follow-up, perhaps another documentary focusing on the post-opening era and the evolution of Disneyland? And after producing this documentary, as well as the exceptional docu-series on Walt Disney Imagineering, what comes next? Are you considering a documentary about other Disney parks? Thank you.
Well, it's a great and very timely question, because if you check the internet right now, they've just announced my next project.
So do share.
But I can't tell you because it's a secret. So they're only teasing you. They're only teasing you, but it's part of the reason why I'm here, besides this wonderful screening this weekend. So you will soon discover my next film at D23 in August. And my wonderful crew and DP Matthias is here. Stand up, you guys. Come on. It takes a team, as we know. So, we all work together, and to me, the team is like a family, as you know, with everybody here. And so the main thing that you can do to create great work is to create a great family. And to me, I try to create families around the world with different people I work with, and that's the biggest gift that this Imagineering story and all my projects with Disney has given me, is just the opportunity to meet new people and work with new people.
And incredibly creative and talented people.
Yes. Getting his steps in.
So with this historic expansion coming here at Disneyland Paris, what do you think is the most, you talked about legacy earlier, especially with the legacy of Walt himself. What do you think is the most important thing to hold on to with this huge historic, it's the largest expansion in history for the Disney parks?
Well, first of all, I think it's amazing. I think it's super exciting. And I think, from everything that I've seen and heard and interviewed everybody is involved, it's going to be amazing and historic and beautiful. And I think it's going to be, what I love about any park is that you're creating something new, and you're bringing something new to a park. And I still feel like there's a lot of room in every park for something brand new, even if it's not related to an IP we already know. I still kind of want something like what Walt did, like a Jungle Cruise or something that's completely new that the parks are creating. It's harder to say than do, but a lot of people I've met have said, we want that, So it's a bold step, but I do think that what this park is about to do is very exciting. It's very exciting for the creatives, and the storytellers, and I can only imagine every day is just challenging and fast and furious, and
It's been an amazing project.
you tell us what it's been like.
Oh, it's been incredible. And to be so close to being able to share this with all our guests is amazing. It's been, it's hard work to change. I mean, we've changed the creative direction of this park. That's hard work. It takes a lot of work from our Imagineers. It takes a lot of work from all of our teams who develop the product. It takes hard work from our marketing teams. So it's been years in the making, and but we think we have something incredibly special, and our guests are gonna really be taken into the Disney stories, and that's what we want, and we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and I think with Lion King and just everything, it's going to be incredible as far as the ability to be immersed in something. Disney does it so unbelievable. Every single new attraction that comes out, you're just always wowed. So I do think that this will be the new park that everybody wants to come to already, but with the new land, it's gonna be busy.
I think so too.
But I mean, I also think that what's always boggles my mind too is just this idea of Walt's vertical integration business philosophy of just saying, okay, I'm going to take my characters and I'm going to now put them in a movie, and then I'm going to now bring them into life to a park, and then allow you to sit in it, walk through it, experience it. And you know, amusement parks have been done before, but nothing to the level of storytelling and character. And it just, I think you would be blown away if you were to come back and see the amazing engineering. I mean, I was just in Singapore on the adventure, and just to see that ship and the level of talent and execution and detail, and I mean, I don't know, I'm speaking to the choir, but I'm just always blown away to think, what would he think all these years later, you know? And it's especially meaningful to me because my grandfather and Walt Disney were original business partners and co-creator and designer of Mickey Mouse with Walt, and they started in Kansas City together, and they sort of forged that early partnership of just what does creativity and what does business and what does a vision and a storyteller look like? What does that team look like? That DNA, and that led to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, or Aslan Cartoonland, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and then ultimately Mickey Mouse and beyond. So they were always pushing animation technology, animation storytelling, and I think that they both looked at each other with such respect all their lives. I mean, you know, for a good chunk of their lives they worked together, and you know, I think it was a really cool. You know, Walt Disney said that Ub Iwerks was the greatest animator in the world, and Roy E. Disney said that without Ub there wouldn't have been a Mickey, and my grandfather said anybody can draw a mouse, it's what you do with it that counts, and Walt made Mickey famous. And so it's that circle of mutual respect, and that I think has fueled so much of what we see, and Roy Disney is an unsung hero in this company, who I'd love to do a documentary on, actually. Having learned all the history and been part of the history and grown up around it, it's really special for me to be a storyteller of it.
I can only imagine.
First of all, I wanted to say that I really love the film, and I also really like the Imagineering story. I think it's one of the reasons that I'm currently working at Disney, because it really inspired me, all the work that has been done before. And I was wondering, what was the inspiration for you to get into filmmaking, and did you always knew that you wanted to do this?
You know, it's funny, I grew up around it, but I was always fascinated by film. My grandfather died when I was just 1 year old, but he was, you know, in the ethera, so to speak. His photos and the photos of he and Walt were in his office. His Oscar was on the mantle, and you know, I read a lot of books growing up about him, but it was really around the dining room table at dinner time, often with the family and my grandmother, his wife, that I would learn all these stories about he and Walt back in Kansas City and coming to Hollywood and going to Santa Barbara on weekends and having fun. And I don't know, I just always felt that his story was never told, my grandfather's story. Well, we would hear different stories at the dinner table than what I was reading in books. And I was went to USC Film School. I decided I really want to be a filmmaker in some capacity and work in that world. And when I graduated, I realized if all the people that knew my grandfather were starting to pass away and that worked with him, and I thought, if I don't do anything now, I'm never going to be able to really understand him and really get to know him. So I documented that. I got Roy E. Disney to fund the film, and I did the story of my grandfather. And I had never taken a documentary class at USC, but I just felt this burning desire, and I got all the archival footage and photographs and started interviewing people, and you know, it was pretty amazing because Roy, they had said, just graduated film school a few years ago. We'll give you enough money to make a 60-minute documentary. And I said, okay, but I really want to make a 90. And I've got a vision for a 90, but they didn't, quite trust me yet. So I put together a 60-minute, and then they all said, well, this is Howard Green, this is Roy, Dick Cook at the time, and they said, this is so good. Well, what do you want to do to make it a 90? And so I told them, and they gave me the same amount of money to add 30 more minutes and put it up for an Academy Award. So that was pretty incredible that they saw that vision, and so they did. They did all that, put it up theatrically, and that film was what led to John Lasseter seeing it and saying, "Would you tell our story?" So then I went into doing the Pixar story with Steve Jobs and Ed Catmull and John Lasseter, and documenting Pixar for a number of years, and then it just kind of rolled. I ended up filming this film in a garbage dump in Guatemala City, and that ended up getting an Oscar nomination, and then Pixar Story got an Emmy nomination, and so anyway, then it just kept going, and so it just sort of happened, one project after the next, and so it wasn't like I just said I want to do documentaries, but it was the way life unfolded, and I love to travel, and I love to interview people, I love to meet people, and I love to tell a lot of unique stories, so that's kind of what it became.
I think that was the last question, yeah? I'm getting the sign. One more? One last one? We have just one hand.
Hi. We were talking earlier about legacy and family, and what you just say about your grandfather that you didn't met. What do you think he would say about after seeing this movie? Like, you picture yourself with him, and I don't know, drinking tea or some iced tea maybe because it's hot. What do you think would be his?
I mean, it's hard for me to say, but he probably would have, been like, okay, there was so many more stories that you didn't tell. No, I mean, 8 months prior to this park opening, Disneyland opening, Walt and Ub ran into each other in the hallway, and Walt wanted to do what was then a 360-degree screen, circle bit, and he says, Ub, can you do this for opening? And Ub literally had to figure out how to create the camera system, hire a company to build the theater, and go out and make the movie and project all in 8 months. So, there's a lot of those stories behind the scenes that this project doesn't show, but it was an extraordinary achievement. So, anyway, that's probably what he would have told me. Tell more stories. But thank you, Natasha. Thank you so much for having me. And
Thank you. Such an honor. Leslie would like to do a selfie with all of you guys. Can you just sit like 1 or 2 more minutes? Yeah?
Tiana James, thank you for everything, always.